What's good? This is Trey, and the topic of this video is what are some good questions to ask a girl on a first date? All right, so when it comes to a first date, um, you know, from my experience or from my, the way I go about it is I have no expectations. On a first date, I'm not like, oh, you know, here comes my girlfriend, gotta drill her, make sure she's, has all my values and principles, like, or, like, I'm not like super serious on the first date. The first date is honestly to check the vibes. It's to see, do we have a good time together? Because to me, that's like one of the main things. It's like, if I don't like being around you, or I don't enjoy spending time with you, and I don't feel good, and I can't express myself freely and feel like you're not judging me, and like, you know what I mean? Like, if it's not good vibes, then none of that other stuff matters, right? So for me, the first date is all about, do we really like each other? Can we be around each other and have a good time? Do we like spending time with each other? That is what I want to find out on the first date. So I have no expectations. I just want to have a good time. Now, I'm gonna have a good time regardless. That's one thing. When I go on a date with a girl, I usually take her to a place that I would normally go by myself, right? So like a smoothie spot, or an ice cream spot, or a wine spot, or a park, or you know what I mean? A place that I would go and I'd be able to have a good time, even if, let's say, she doesn't even show up, I can meet girls there, or I can vibe with other people. Like, so that's my mentality. Like, I'm already gonna have a good time regardless, but I just want to see, can this girl match my vibe, right? Can she have a good time with me, or is she like, does she bring like a negative energy to the situation, right? So questions to ask on a first date, honestly, it depends on the girl, it depends on the vibe, it depends, how you feel. But there's certain questions that I notice that I do ask pretty consistently, right? And I'm gonna just go through them. One of them is, what would you do if you could do anything in the world and you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do? Like, basically, like, if you were in a fantasy land where anything was possible, what would you do? Right? And I don't put no limits on it. Like, what, she could say anything she wants to say. And what this does is this creates like a fantasy. Like, it's like she goes into her mind and she starts like creating like a fantasy. And it's fun to do that because that's like things you do as a child, right? And I'm aware of that, and that's fun for me. Like, if she asked me that question, I get to think about that too, and come up with different ideas. Oh, what would I do if I could not fail, right? So that's a fun question. I'll ask her, what would you like as, another question I'll ask is, what were you like as a kid? Like, what were you like in elementary school or middle school or high school? Like, because I think that's interesting. You could learn a lot from someone based on how they were, when they were growing up or whatever. I think that's a cool question to ask. So I asked that question. I'll ask, like fun questions like, oh, what kind of music you listen to? What do you like to do? Like, what kind of hobbies you have? You know what I mean? And it's just because I want to, basically, when I go on a date with a girl, it's like I want to understand her life. I want to understand her perspective because it's cool. It's cool. It helps me to see things differently. Like, when you get another perspective, it helps you to see things differently. So I see value in those questions. And it's fun, you know what I mean? Like, it's good vibes, it's fun, it's positive. Then if I really start liking her, I might start asking her questions that, are more focused on like her goals in life, like where she's going in her future, her values, right? So I may ask her like, so what's your passion? Like, what do you love to do? Like, what are you aiming towards, or what are you doing right now, with your life? Like, what is your life about? What is your purpose on this planet? Like, questions like that, just to find out how she thinks, where she's at, and depending on how she answers that, I may go into like, oh, so, are you into like spirituality? It depends. I'll go that route if she answers in a way that signals, okay, let me go that route. If not, I won't do that, right? It's really, a lot of it is like feeling out the energy of the conversation and deciding where you want to go. Like, do you want to create tension, or do you want it to flow? Or, you can decide where you want to go with it. And it really depends on the girl, like how much you like the girl, how much you're vibing with her. You know, you don't want to be like, I have to ask these set questions unless you have like a specific result you're trying to create with the relationship, right? Like if you know for a fact you're only looking for a girlfriend right now and there's certain questions that will help you identify that, then ask those questions. If you know for a fact that you only want friends with benefits and there's certain questions that will help you screen for that, then ask those questions. You got to know what your goal is, right? Me personally, when I go on a first date, I have no expectations because it really depends on how we vibe and the communication that will determine where I want to go with this relationship. But I don't come into it like, oh, it has to be this way or it has to be that way. If you're the type of person that wants it to be a certain way, then you got to know the type of questions you can ask to get that result. But for me, a lot of it is just vibing, right? Like just feeling out the energy, having a good time, not really taking things too seriously. Maybe on another date, I might get into more serious questions, but the first date is just to find out, do we vibe? Like, can we even be friends? You know, like before we even think about lovers or any of that, like, can we be friends? Can we be around each other? Can we have cool conversations? Like, that's how I think. So, you know, as far as questions to ask, that's kind of how I see it. You know, it's not like this, I have a paper and I go through the list of questions. Like, I think that just makes it like, you know, it's going to create like an interview kind of thing. And it's like, that's not, to me, that's not like a fun date, right? If your goal is to have fun and enjoy yourself and enjoy your life, you know, you want to have these fun dates, these fun experiences. A first date is like very cool because it's almost like you don't know what to expect. You don't know how she's going to be on that date. You know, you might have an idea, but you never really know. And so I don't want to like enforce like an agenda or like a way of you know, creating like a structure or a frame that is unnecessary. I'd rather just flow and just see, you know, because I want this girl to be as real as possible. I don't want to make her feel like she has to be a certain way. I want to see how she really is. So I have no expectations. I'm judgment free, and I allow her to express herself so I can see like who is this person I'm dealing with, you know? Obviously, if I'm going on a date with her, I find her physically attractive, but I gotta see more than that, you know what I mean? So that's the advice as far as, you know, what questions to ask on a date. If you're a guy and you are struggling in your dating life and you would like some guidance, like some support on how you can achieve the results you want to achieve in your dating life, send me a private message. Let's have a conversation and see what steps you need to take to achieve your goals in your dating life. Thanks for watching. Peace.